Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to today's panel discussion hosted by Skillame on the highly relevant and thought-provoking topic. Now, with all of us reading about recent layoffs news every alternate day, so I think this particular topic becomes very important. The topic is hiring fast, firing faster, is talent quality dropping? As organizations continue to scale rapidly and adapt to changing business realities, hiring has become faster than ever before. At the same time, companies are also witnessing increasing concerns around role fitment, employee readiness, performance expectations, and retention. So today's discussion aims to explore whether speed in hiring is impacting talent quality, how organizations are balancing growth with capability, and what the future of hiring and workforce readiness looks like. We are delighted to have an esteemed panel of industry leaders joining us today. First panelist is Ms. Srividya Rajiv, Senior Manager Corporate HR at AVT McCormick, HR leader and people management professional with 24 years of extensive experience in employee engagement, talent development, organizational effectiveness, and workforce capability building. She has worked closely with business and leadership teams in driving people-centric initiatives and building strong workplace cultures while balancing performance and employee growth. Welcome, Ms. Srividya.
Thank you.
Yeah. And next we have Mr. Ganesh Pillai, AGM at Cadila Pharmaceuticals Limited, a seasoned HR and talent strategy leader with 17 plus years of rich experience across talent acquisition, workforce transformation, leadership hiring, and business HR partnering. Over the years, he has worked extensively on aligning talent strategies with organizational growth while navigating the challenges of scaling teams in dynamic business environments. So, welcome, Mr. Ganesh. We are also joined by with us by Kulsevi Mullah, from Pay Private Limited, talent and HR professional with expertise in talent acquisition, employee experience, stakeholder management, and people operations. She brings valuable perspectives on modern hiring practices, candidate expectations, workforce engagement, and the evolving realities of recruitment in fast-paced organizations. Welcome, Kulsevi.
Thank you, Patel.
Our fourth panelist is Manisha Jha from Drop, a HR professional with experience in recruitment, talent management, employee development, and organizational capability enhancement. She has been actively involved in understanding workforce trends, improving hiring effectiveness, and enabling learning and growth initiatives for employees across functions. Welcome, Manisha.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and moderating today's discussion is Ms. Akshat Puwappa from Thomson Reuters, an experienced business and people leader known for driving strategic conversations around workforce transformation, leadership, talent practices, and organizational growth. With her strong understanding of evolving workplace dynamics and business expectations, she will be guiding today's discussion and helping us uncover diverse industry perspectives around hiring quality, performance expectations, and talent sustainability. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Patel.
So we sincerely thank all our panelists and attendees on here and LinkedIn Live, primarily for joining us today and taking time to be part of this important conversation. So without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to our moderator, Ms. Akshat, to take the discussion forward. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, to be participating with us, who's on live stream as well as here with us at this spot. It's a pleasure to have you all join us, and I'm sure we'll be bringing a very thought-provoking discussion about hiring fast, firing fast, and is this talent quality dropping? So over the next 60 minutes, we'll explore these perspectives through an interactive panel discussions, hear from our experts here, and invite your thoughts along the way. Let's get started. So, how the flow goes is we have about 4 segments, each with a questionnaire discussed about certain themes. I'll shoot certain questions to some of your moderators based on your panel focuses. And finally, we would have a rapid fire round where I have questions that flows in with your discussions to be open about. And let's see how interesting this goes and how well we can get details about, right? All right. Starting with the first segment. So, why has hiring become more complex today? what we see is the discussion themes lay on pressure to scale quickly. What's the business expectations from the HR? There's an AI-led transformation that changes the roles and capabilities that gap despite the hiring activities. So based on this, and I think like I have also got the focuses that you all refer to. Uh, I would like to start with um, Kulsevi because you have a hiring challenge in fast-moving environment. So based on this, my first question to you would be, what has changed most in this hiring over the last 2 or 3 years that you see?
I see that the speed is taken as more important and the priority one, rather than concentrating on the fundamental like the role clarity, the culture fit, the onboarding experiences, and the manager alignment. So that has been getting compromised with the speed. So that's where the hiring challenges is coming up in the fast-moving environments. So that's where the organization sees the more active exits, the performance issues, or the hiring matches. So the examples would be the speed, the poor alignment JDs, or the weak onboarding experiences, and the lack of managers connect. So, for example, if I want to take an example as it can be a cultural misfit. So, for example, a candidate can be a good in terms of technical background or the technical domain, but somewhere he or she might fail on the team culture or the team bonding or the stakeholder management. So that would be in one example where these kind of talent equality is getting dropped because of the faster experience and the recruiters are not judging it on a proper way. So these can be one example, and second example would be the manager capability. So manager is very good in leading the teams, but somewhere he or she is lacking in the people management practices or how to bond with them and how to create that team growth culture. So this would be one of the reasons why there is the challenges is going on it.
Right. Yes, to an extent, I do definitely agree with you about the bonding part. That is something we clearly see at this generation. Now, the past 2 and 3 years, we have the Gen Zs coming in place. There's a big challenge in order to bring a bond with them.
Yes.
I am facing it myself in my own team, and I see how difficult it gets. So there's a big question to solve about, truly.
And at the same time, Akshat, also that we can't blame for one generation. Today's, if you consider the workflows, they only prioritizes what is the clarity that I'm having in the organization or what is the growth that I'm having it.
Mhm.
So I would urge the organization no have the approach of management as well as the engagement approaches so that everything is balanced, and that's how the growth of an individual and the company goes together.
Absolutely. Yes, agreed. Uh, uh, Coming to Mr. Ganesh, I have the same question for you. Uh, so what do you think? What has changed in hiring for the past 2 or 3 years right now?
Shifts, and first of all, thanks for this opportunity. One of the major shifts I see in Indian is we need not just for the current, but also for the future requirements
I'm
as well.
sorry to I'm sorry to break you, Mr. Ganesh. I think you're not very audible to us.
I mean,
Um, I'm not sure. Patil, would you want to pitch
Yeah,
in?
yes, I mean,
it's not clear, Mr. Ganesh.
it's not clear. It
You're
is,
not. Yeah, the voice isn't very clear.
can you this?
Okay, I think, Mr. Ganesh, if in meanwhile you can just check your audio, we'll move to the next panelist in the meanwhile,
Yes,
and we'll come back to
we'll
you.
do that. Right. I'll go ahead with another question here. So this will be to Manisha. Are organization hiring for skills, experience, or adaptability? What is it that you see?
Hey, thanks for the question, Akshat. So, on a surface level, when you hear every leader talking about the hiring practices, right, it does look like every company is now moving into skill-based hiring. They're looking, they are wanting to match a certain skill sets in every organization. So it is at a surface level, every company is hiring for skills. But if you get into the depth, you realize that um, in the current structure of work, right, where your job role keeps evolving continuously. The role that you have hired a person for today might not be the exact job role 6 months down the line, right? The entire job requirement would have changed. So while at the surface level it is companies hiring for skill, but I think majorly it is adaptability, and it will take some time for companies to realize that that the major part of the thought process behind hiring should be adaptability. So yeah, that's, I think, it's skill as of now, but subtly it's also adaptability that leaders are looking forward to. And down the line, few months or say few weeks, with the kind of the rapid changing world is, I think it would take over by adaptability completely. How adaptable is a resource in the current structure of work?
Right. Srividya, with your focus about workforce readiness and practical workplace capability, what is your thoughts about hiring for skills, experience, or adaptability?
So I also align with Manisha, but along with that, I just close this as capability today is not only what employees know, it's more about effectively adapt and contribute to the organization culture. So culture plays a major role. Today, organization increasingly evaluate only technical capability, but nowadays, in the new era, only technical capability won't work. Behavioral capabilities, accountability, leadership maturity. You can tell any names. Altogether,
Yeah,
it comes under the cultural fit. When an employee fits under the culture of the organization, everything works. And the learning ability to of the new journey, that also works. So we can close this capability today is not only the technical but to the cultural fit side also.
right, right. Fair enough. Absolutely. Moving on with the next question. Yes, Mr. Ganesh, since you're back, I do not want to break you there. We'll come back to you about the same question. What do you think has changed most likely in this hiring phase of the 2 or 3 years? Sorry,
Not audible. Not audible.
y- you're not audible. Sorry.
Let me have a change in network.
Yes, please. Right. Let's go ahead with the next question. On the same segment, so has the definition of a good talent changed? I would come this up to Kutsebi. What do you think has the definition for the good talent changed?
Okay, so earlier, the good talent was only the definition of the qualification that you're holding and how many years of the experience, and what are the extra skills or the certifications that you're holding it. But now it
Right,
has become too much into the communication and the collaboration. So wherever you see, the companies only talk about the communication and the collaboration, because that is what more about your more than your education or more than your certification, that talks about your experience and everything. So yes, right now the good talent, the definition has been changed in the market now.
right. Uh, what is your take about this, Srividya? You're on mute.
Sorry. So in my point of view, organizations are now changing like anything. So it's a fast moving uh, organizations, and the expectations from the organization side has been changed. We have seen post COVID, all the industries have been changed drastically. We have moved to work from home options, and the new now we can see the disruptions in the external world, and tariff changes. So all these are being changed, the organization concept, and so the good talent has also to be changed. So in my perspective, definition of good talent to be changed. Kind of employees need to be more cultural fit. They not only know the technical side, they skills can be developed, but the culture or the fitness or the fast learning abilities, that needs to be changed. Employees should be fast, first to the environment, what happens in the outside world and what happens in the business. Employees should look into a bigger picture about what management or what the organization is for, what is the what organization is expecting from us. They have to be very vigilant and agile to the outside world. So talent definitely, it's not changing, it's need to be upgraded now and then. That's my take in this.
Okay. Manisha, I would like to hear from you about what good talent, according to you, is. Like, has it changed? Especially, like, maybe I'll add another phase to it, especially with newbies coming into the industry today. How do you think you'll judge a good talent?
Right. So I think I agree with most points that Srividya had mentioned, right? Um, I think initially when you talk about a good, say 10 years back or say 5 years back also, when you talk about a good candidate, it would essentially be about the pedigree, right? If they come from a good college, the prejudices would ideally be around, okay, they come from a certain prestigious institution, so this is the kind of education that they've gone through, this is the quality of education coming from that organization, and that would primarily be the idea of what a good talent would look like. But right now, in the current environment, knowledge is very accessible. It has become very accessible to everyone. So that definitely can't be the differentiator, right? So, say someone in IIT or someone in a tier three school, if they push themselves to get the required set of knowledge, it's not very difficult, right?
Right.
Knowledge is available everywhere. So, in this current times, I think one big differentiator would be the judgment and the execution skill that people have, right? The problem solving, how do they navigate in ambiguity, right? Because problem statements are changing and you might come with a certain skill set initially, but are you ready to navigate a way out of that ambiguity in a fast changing job environment where KPIs keep changing every day? You
Mhm.
might come into a certain KRA, but it might change down the line few weeks itself, right? So, how adaptable is a resource? How agile is a resource to learning, right? So, I think this is what a really good talent is defined in the current world.
Absolutely. Yes. Ganesh, thank you. I hope your issue with the hearing is fixed, is it?
I'm audible now. Better? Is it better now?
Much better. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Ganesh,
Okay.
we're still at the same segment. I know we have to run a little faster considering the
Sure.
time span that we have. I have one last question on the same segment, which is, are HR teams solving a hiring challenge or a larger capability challenge? What do you think the HR team is actually solving? Is it just a hiring challenge or a larger capability challenge?
Okay. So we are in a transition phase from where we are moving from the hiring challenge to the capability challenge. Because as fellow panelists were also mentioning, there is a drastic shift in terms of trends in the industry, the geopolitical system, and the times are there where a person with more adaptability, less learning curve, and execution excellence. So these are the three words which is going to rule in the upcoming times. And we are not hiring just for today, but we are hiring for tomorrow's skills as well. With AI coming into picture, there are models developed every day. One model takes over the other model the very next day. Once you finish learning one, the other one is already ready. So your learning curve needs to be very quick and fast. So that's how things are going to change. And now currently we are in a very ambiguous situation where what future looks like, there is a lot of debate and question around it. So this is my take.
Right. Absolutely. I have certain other questions, but maybe I will do through at the end of another segment because I think it falls under a big, larger question, which I'll come back later with. Yeah. Moving on, let's go ahead with our second segment. So here the topic stands as, is talent quality dropping, or are capability expectations is rising? The theme here again falls under the readiness in the workplace area. What is the agility in the learning skills? How capable are we to take up the ownership to execute the capabilities? What are the credentials versus the capabilities that one holds versus the long term employability? So starting with my first question, Are organizations finding um, something like a technically skilled but an exceptionally weak talent? Is that what we are looking at? Ganesh, I'll come back to you. Are organizations finding a technically skilled but an exceptionally weak talent? Is that where we stand?
So you want me to go first, answer this?
Yes, please.
Okay, fair enough. So this remains a classic problem. There was always a gap between the academias and the industries, where we faced that there were a lot of job opportunities, but at the other end, there was unemployment also. This still continues because, as you rightly mentioned, the credential columns looks great, but when it comes to the capability, implementation, and practical execution, there is a big gap which is observed not only by us, but when we talk at various HR forums or internal groups. So this is a challenge where there is a gap. But with now the new technology coming into place, the learning itself, the older methods of learning, whether it's an LMS, LXP learning, that is going to change completely in the upcoming days. And to answer specifically to your question, there is a mixed response at the uh, what you call at a fresher level. Yes, we are facing certain challenges where there is a drop in talent which we foresee in terms of implementation and capabilities. Credentials, there are up to the mark, but that is a challenge which has been faced. And second is as we move upper the higher, the business acumen and the agility to learn and implement things faster. So that is something the organization is going to invest a lot in upcoming days. So this is my take.
On a second angle, Kulsebi, what is your take on the same question?
Okay, so the thing is like earlier there was only the technical skills, technical expertise, and the certifications. But nowadays, what is happening is like, are you ready to take the execution on a proper way or not? Are you okay to work with this kind of work style environment or not? What is your adaptability? Do you have out of box thinking options or not? So all these things comes into the picture, where that some of the technical courses or the the graduations doesn't give a substantial answer for that. So we have to be very careful, and the companies also should know that who are the people can handle it, and at the same time being responsible and the accountable, not just only on the technical aspects. So these also plays a very important role along with your technical skills background.
But overall, if I just throw this question to all you panelists, how are you judging a weak talent on that note? This is just an open question. Any of you are free to answer.
So let me answer.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sometimes organizations do find technically strong talent, but execution success also depend on the leadership style and cultural alignment. For example, some may have performed very well in a highly transactional or a command-driven environment, but they may struggle in more collaborative or people-oriented cultures. Today, so organizations increasingly evaluate not only the technical capability but also behavioral adaptability, accountability, leadership maturity. So HR job role is very fastly changing, so we have to be very vigilant while taking people. The process starts from the hiring. When the first call gone to the employee or the candidate, the evaluation starts how this employee can be matched to our organization. After completing everything, also we have a induction process. Some companies, it may have 1 to 2 months or 1 month or just 2 days. So altogether it's a long process. After going through all these process, only we can find how this employee can be matched to the organizations. That's HR has a huge role.
Right. So ideally, what you would land up to understand is to validate whether the adaptability is becoming more important than experience.
Yes, yes. Adaptability, not technical skill is equally important, and capability. So it will be a blend of cultural fit as well as the technical skill. Technical skills, if for example, when I recruit a person, he has a good knowledge, normal knowledge about Excel, but he has a good what learning skills. He is very agile, and the other person who is having very fast Excel knowledge. He is a pivot. He knows pivot, macros, everything he knows. But he is very adamant. Whom will he be recruit? Definitely, we will be recruiting the first person, right? So,
Mm,
so the HR should have that knowledge and that courage to take decisions. From the first call itself, they have to analyze the person
absolutely.
that AI or something else can't replace.
Judge it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh,
So,
mm, yes,
yes.
yes.
So just to answer this question, there are two measurements. One is qualitative, another one is quantitative. So I'll give you an example from the training field itself. So in case
Mm,
I'm judging a trainer, so one is he or she delivering the required number of sessions, what is required per month? That is quantitative. Just a very basic example. And second is qualitative. How are the sessions effective in terms of their feedback, in terms of the output of the session? So these are the basis which we are trying to benchmark them when we are trying to evaluate the talent. And like Sri Vidya also rightly mentioned, there is always a skill will matrix which we consider. So it's easier to train on skill, but it's very difficult to train someone on attitude or will issues. So that's
right.
my take.
Right. I think definitely yes. When it comes to technical skills, it's the hiring manager who focuses on the technical part. But when it comes to people management, understanding the attitude, the agility, and the behavioral cultures, etc., falls on the HR. How much of a HR is investing on a candidate when they are interviewed? I just have this is a throw up question. It's just come to my mind on the spot. So today, what we see, or maybe what I have seen at least, based on my experience, the moment a candidate goes through interviews technically and has been mentioned to the HR that we like him, I think we should offer. Does HR really take in an effort to pitch in to understand? Okay, should we now validate this person on their culture, behavior, or attitude, etc.? Is that question ever arising, or has organizations really put this into practice? Is my question.
I think I'd like to
Go
take
ahead.
this question, right? So we were talking about the gap, right? While the capability expectations are increasing, and how the workforce readiness is reducing, right? So when we talk about the talent quality dropping, it's very subjective. Now, coming to your question on what is HR's role in this whole process. Okay, so coming from a very personal POV, so took me some time. So I work as a HR business partner. So it took me some time to understand what this role looks like. Especially in India, this role is like still evolving and took people time to understand what this role looks like. So what this role essentially means is you as an HR understand the business and give become a consultant for them, right? So I think organizations have understood this role well, and at least in the last four organizations that I have been in, HR always has a say in this in the whole hiring process in the final decision, because a person, as other panelists mentioned, might be great on the technical skill, but at least I have this take. He can be like a perfect candidate for that role, matching the JD, but does he match your company's culture, right? So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
one thing that HRs have to pitch in, right? That okay, maybe he has the right skill set, know all the tech stacks, but will he be collaborative with the current team? Your current team might be a team of aloof people, like who are doing a really good job. Now, bringing in a very high energy resource might break or make things, right? Now, that
Right.
judgment is something that HR has to make. Do we bring in a quiet resource, put the head down and work kind of resource in this team, or we bring a high energy resource which is going to transform it? Is it going to damage it instead of transforming it? Those decisions, I think HRs currently have grown into that level in organizations. It's no more just a, oh, I like this candidate, roll out the offer letter. I think HR
Exactly.
have a say, and this is essentially where HRs, you understand your own culture and then see, okay, this perfect candidate, is he perfect for our team or our culture? So I think that's happening in organizations, not maybe not everywhere, but most of them. So yeah, it is working.
Exactly. Yes. So you talk about this capability gaps that organizations are noticing. So uh, can Kulsabi, starting with you, if I can ask you to share me about two things that, according to you, what you notice is the capability gap that the organizations are noticing after hiring these days?
The first and foremost would be around the manager capability, the manager readiness, because that's where the onboarding employee connect or the manager connect comes over there. So most of the things we see that there will be a gap or the issues in the communication or the stakeholder management, but the major gaps comes from the manager connect or the manager readiness because he's the one or she's the one who's taking care of the team, getting into the team, building that growth and the culture, the belongingness and everything. So in this, it's become very difficult and challenging for the managers also because, for example, I have seen, employees with a few experience are very open, getting adjusted to the environment because they are ready to know the change and accept the change. But people with high experience, it's like very difficult because we need to make them understand that this is what it is and this is how we need to do it. So there are lots of training sessions goes on it. We also do the managerial workshop program so that they know, but are they really doing it? Are they really
Mm,
practically working on that? So that is where the capability gaps comes from there.
right. Uh, Ganesh, what is your take on it? What are the two things besides what Kulsabi said? What are the two things that you think has a gap in itself?
So the major capability gap which we are seeing right now is one is as my previous panelist mentioned is one is the leadership capability. So people have been promoted to a leadership position purely based on technical skills because their performance was good. If we take a very basic example of individual contributor being promoted to a first time manager, so it's just basically on a technical skill aspect. But being an individual contributor, being a team leader, it's a different ball game altogether. So
Right,
that is one capability gap. Second capability gap is understanding the business acumen. The business acumen gap is there because there is a lot of context needs to be added when you are working in a particular industry. For example, I represent pharmaceutical industries. So should you be aware about the pharma industry, the healthcare industry, the allied industries? For example, come up with initiatives, innovations, and creativity. And that is what is needed as we move forward to have a differentiator, the organizations to have a differentiator, this kind of innovators and people who can have out of box thinking. So that is what is needed. So these two are the major things which I.
noted. Thank you. I have one open question under this segment for all you four panels, and maybe each of you can give me one answer to it. All right. So help me complete this sentence. What, according to you, is the most underrated capability that organizations should hire for today? If I have to repeat, what, according to you, is the most underrated capability that organizations should hire for today? Let's start with you, Manisha.
I think it would be learning agility, right? Because systems keep changing, technologies keep changing. But if someone can learn quick, so yeah, I think the right kind of talent would be skill set would be learning agility.
Right. Srividya. Srividya, you have a take on this? Sorry.
Yeah.
On the same
So,
question, if I can get one note from each of you.
so the in my terms, it is adaptability and the culture fit. So that is what till now organizations are not looking into. Earlier, we were only looking into the technical side, the psychometric, even though we are doing the psychometric analysis, everything, but the adaptability and to the culture or the culture fit is the right term. We can say that does an underscore thing that HR needs to take care of.
Right. Got it. Kulsabi, what's your take on this?
I would say that ownership and the accountability because I make good in completing tasks, but is the business is taking that accountability, have I have that skill of thinking out of the box. So these kinds of things would be an example and the reason for that.
Right. Ganesh.
Yeah. So at the beginning of my speech, I mentioned about three things. One was the learning curve, second was the adaptability, and third one was the execution. So here I'll more deep dive on the execution part, which I see. So we are looking for people who are solution providers, who come up with their own solutions. So where they are able to find out, figure out, and execute, take ownership and execute. So my answer would be execution excellence. That is something.
Right. Uh, so as we see, I think all our panelists have a a great skill that always stands out and which is very important today, which is your learning agility, your adaptability to fit into the right culture. How good are you at taking ownership? What's the accountability level that you can stay up to, and how's your execution at the end? That's a great concept that we all have to imbibe in ourselves today and ensure that we take this forward really quick and fast, right? Thank you about this. Moving on, this is the third segment, and it's a very interesting or mostly the most popular topic since 2024, AI. AI is in hiring. Right. So helping capability, or are you hiding gaps? It's about AI. It's a AI driven hiring process today. Whatever you talk, touch, speak, breathe is all about AI. AI generated resumes, interview responses. There's always a human judgment versus the automation. So today, I think we have kind of lacked, or maybe we are underrating our skills with AI coming in place. We type an email, we are so dependent to go back to AI to check, have I written the right, or does my sentence make the right sense? Where was this before AI? I think for us, it always made sense. I think we had the confidence scale that yes, we are doing it right. But today, I see that in my office also, most probably any interactive sessions we have, AI definitely plays its major role. Right. Even with the children that you talk about today, they are most fascinated with AI. All they know is, although they don't understand exactly what ChatGPT is, but ChatGPT is a famous word to them, is a famous term to them. With this in place, so I would like to start off with Kulsavi. Is AI improving your hiring decisions or making hiring more superficial? What it is, according to you?
As far as I know, AI can shortlist the talent, but is it really understanding the attitude and the
Exactly.
culture fit of the candidate? Because at the end of the day, the employee experiences as well as the hiring experience also matters. Forget about the mentor system, the buddy system, the 30, 60, 90. But are we really investing on understanding the candidate attitudes, the behavioral skills? Then that is a good question mark on that. But at the same time, we should also be ready on the pros and the cons of the AI. Now, if I talk about the improvisation, yes, it is helping a lot to the recruiters in in managing the high volumes of the application, shortlisting the resume and everything. But there is a gap. What the gap is, like the human connect. Everything is doing the automatic machine. Then where is that human conversations going on? How is that to build that lively relationship between the hiring, the recruiter and the candidate? So that is the biggest risk and the gap. And we also have few HRMS portal that also gives a visibility of the hiring, what is the status it's going on. But I feel that this people centric is somewhere missing in this AI, the technology thing.
Right. Manisha, I would like to hear it from you. So you hail from the HRBP. So I'm very sure there's a lot of recruitments topics that turn around you in terms of the systems that you support for. So how do you see with AI coming in place, which states to help the hiring basis or hiring decisions more familiarized? Or is it like or do you see it that it is somewhere lacking its own capability in order to ending up with being superficial?
I think there are two sides to it. One side would clearly be your JDs are also becoming more structured, right? While the
Absolutely.
resumes are getting structured, everything looks so polished. I haven't seen any resume, and I would think, oh, what is this? Like, back in day, like 4 year back when I used to go through resumes, sometimes I would reject people just on the resume, saying, okay, might
Yeah.
have the right skill set, but your resume looks so bad.
Mhm.
Currently, I think while it looks polished, also on our benefit side, our JDs are looking more structured. We know what we are hiring, right? It's not very ambiguous what business leader is speaking, what versus what the organization wants versus what the HR is looking for. So I think a lot of clarity on the HR end while we are looking for resources. But having said that, I think coming back to the first statement where I say keep the CVs are becoming more structured, more polished, it becomes a little difficult on what is a differentiator. Every CV just literally looks like the same. So I think though it can help us on structuring and kind of beautifying things, but end of the day, human judgment is what comes into the play, right? The final take would always be on a human HR evaluating those profiles and deciding if this is the one, right? But yeah, to some extent, yes, it is making more of the process make more sense, right? So that's where it is helping.
Yeah, in continuation to your response about especially the last line that you stated. So, what human capabilities will become more valuable because of AI? What do you think? You
So
may
I think
continue now.
one would be the judgment, right? Your you know intuitions are something again AI can't build. Emotional intelligence is something AI can't build. How do you think under a very stressful or a very ambiguous situation? This is something where these are very human traits, and eventually companies when AI becomes the starts processing information faster, the human differentiator, all this emotional intelligence, your contextual thinking, these are the things that would come into the play, right? So in a long run, this would be the skills that would matter the most.
Right. We have one last question on this same segment, and this would be with you, Ganesh. Will AI increase the efficiency but reduce a meaningful talent evaluation?
So just trying to understand the question you asked, whether AI
Will
would, yeah,
will AI help increase the efficiency but probably
okay,
reduce a meaningful talent evaluation?
meaningful talent evaluation.
Yes.
So, so I just wanted to bring it to specifics. So here we are talking about a generic term, but when we deep dive to have the specific answers, we need to understand for which role we are looking at. This answer
Hmm.
would be different if we are I'm considering a fresher. This answer would be different if I'm considering a C-suite leader. So there are different levels and different hierarchies. So AI will play a different role at different hierarchies. I will connect it to the previous question as well, like you answered about AI in the interview process. So AI in the interview process for entry level roles, for fresher roles, yeah, its dependency would be more. But as we move ahead, when we are hiring for leadership positions, there would be a lot of context which would be required because the things like culture, the business acumen, something which is requires human judgment and something which is more of contextual. So their AI dependency, there the person needs to work with AI. Dependency would be there. They would be collaborators. So to answer this, it depends upon the person if they are becoming dependent, as you also rightly mentioned. When we write a mail and we just go and recheck, if we are going at that level dependency, my answer would be yes. But if you are using AI as your co-partner, where you're trying to brainstorm it, where you're trying to build in solutions, where you're trying to use it as a partner, then yes, you will also grow and the AI will support you in your growth. But if you become dependent, so was a
Right.
classic case of when internet was also launched. So is internet good or bad? It depends upon how you use it. So that will be my answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Right. Thank you. Let's move on with the final segment before the rapid fire that we have. The final segment question is about why are organizations hiring fast and letting go faster? So, I think I have a set of questions while I keep it open to all four panels. And please feel free to pitch in as to your opinions, right? Based on this, my first question would be: are organizations clear about what capability they actually need? And are managers equipped to develop capability after hiring? So, uh, Kulsabi, maybe we can start with you. I would like to repeat: are organizations clear about the capability they actually need? And are managers equipped to develop the capability after hiring? What is your thoughts on this?
So nowadays, the organizations are becoming very clear what they want and what are they expecting in the candidates or the employees. But most of the companies, they immediately focus like, what are your delivery skills? under your business pressure? Are you okay to, give some sort of targets or the achievements on so and so conditions, on so and so changes kind of thing? But later they decide, thinking that, okay, is he gonna fit on the collaboration? Does he is gonna take the ownership, or is he taking the accountability of that? So that is where the picture should come, and it should not be always on the lack of the talent, because until unless you don't explain what is your clear goals on it and expecting from an employee, then both will not be on the same page. And at the same time, managers also plays a very important role over here. So as Ganesh was telling that, managers are getting promoted because of their technical expertise, or the more getting into the process, but somewhere there is a lacking over there. So both plays an important role over here in terms of employee getting involved in the process, or getting involved in the team, and having that connection between the team member and the managers and the business goals. So all these things plays majorly in the employees phase it is.
Right. Srividya, on the second thought, what is your take on the same?
So, in my point of view, organizations, in my perspective, I'll be
Yes,
saying,
surely.
in highly process-oriented organizations, quality-driven manufacturing environments like ours, sustainable performance of that depends not only the technical competence, when in terms of shop floor employees. So they are not aligned to any AI, but we will be implementing some HRMS systems and all. But what happens is, there when we implement something, they have to adapt to the systems very fastly. So when managers when as Kulsabi was telling about, when we hire a manager, so this we what the organization expecting from that manager is, the manager should think in a big picture, or the manager should be aligned with the organization requirement. So that HR will be playing as a bridge. HR also
Mm,
should understand what the organization actually requires. That big picture should be there in HR mind. HR should know each and every process, the function, what this organization is there, what this organization is looking for. So when we hire someone, or when we promote someone to managerial role, we have to think about whether this person can be aligned to this organization line, and or when we have some open or when we have some open discussions, this manager should open up with their suggestions. They should not say no. If the idea is a blunter also, they have to open up. Then only, if I say some blunter, the other one is saying some blunter. But when the team or the top management thinks about these two blunters, there will be some one idea. So all these organization, or the manager or the HR, everyone should be very well aligned with the organization requirement and the business and what happens in the outside world. So that is a very very emergent requirement in terms of HR.
agreed. Yes. I have one last question in the segment. Is retention becoming harder because employee and employer expectations are changing? They are not able to align themselves. So is the retention becoming really harder? What is your take on this, Ganesh?
So my take is yes, absolutely. The retention is becoming harder because a lot of multiple elements into it, from the employee side as well, and from the employee side as well. So now, and an employee also have different perspectives. So now we have a person where to choose from, whether they are a beach person or a mountain person, right? So that kind of nuances which is coming in. So expectations are different. It's earlier there was more or less more structured standardized format, but things are getting more dynamic with a lot of different age groups, a lot of different generations working together, team dynamics, team collaboration, what employee expects. Some employee expects growth, some don't want growth as well. Some people don't want promotion. That's a new term which is cropping up. I don't want promotion, I want to be an individual contributor, I don't want to become a manager. So there are a lot of things coming up. So trying to match this, organization at one end has to deal with external factors, changing trends and changing
Yeah.
laws, right? And at the second hand, changing perspectives of the employee demographics. So yes, retention is getting tougher. That's my take.
Yeah. Manisha, do you align with what Ganesh said, or do you have something more to add to?
I think I completely agree with what Ganesh mentioned, right? I think the expectation at both end are changing, mainly on the employee end. So conversations become a little more difficult. I think it's no longer about just the money. I think all the conversations that I've led in recent days, it was majorly about, okay, we love this work, but what is more to learn, right? They're more of explorers. We used to do this brand archetyping, personality archetyping before, and I think every person that I hired, at least in the tech space, come with that explorer archetype, explorer mindset, that okay, I love this current workspace, I am happy with the comp, but I'm just curious to know what else is in the market, right? So with all the reports saying that all roles are gonna change by 2030, I think everyone is going on that path to know what more is there to learn. So I think, yeah,
Yeah,
that's why the retention conversations are becoming super difficult these days.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I would
Perfect.
like to add one point here,
Yes,
Anika.
please. Yes,
The thing
please.
is, like earlier days, where money was more important, the
Yeah,
compensation, what I
yeah,
was getting in
yeah,
hand. But nowadays, what is happening is like, what is next after that? I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah,
money, but what is there for me in
yeah,
my
yeah.
basket? So one is like one employee says that I'm happy that my manager is supporting. That's enough. If I'm not getting recognition, if I'm not getting any bonuses, that's fine. I'm having a manager support who understands me and having a work-life balance. That is good, but there are other employees also ask for what is the meaningful work that I'm doing over here,
Right,
right? What is the flexibility that I'm getting over here? I'm happy with
right,
whatever the organization is giving, but what is the extra things is for me? So these, the expectations keeps on changing day by day, or how the fast the company is growing. But at the same time, we should not forget on the transparency of the communication. So that's why the onboarding experiences comes in the beginning of the phase. So we have
right.
to be
But
very clear thing in that.
yeah,
Yeah, just
but
just one
besides,
point, just one point which just struck
yes,
me.
please.
I read somewhere that certain Gen Z employees were looking at the carbon footprint of the organization before joining the organization. So you can understand the complexity.
So talking about Gen Z, have you at any time come across boredom hitting them really soon? Is boredom also a part that hits them really soon?
I think,
Let me
yeah.
let
Sorry,
me
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, as a manufacturing industry, we seldom have Gen Zs. But in my perspective, I didn't find any fault in them. So, I just feel them as more healthy oriented. They are fitness oriented. They are just doing their work. They are enjoying the work. Not like they are just sitting and working everything every all the day. They are just enjoying their life. They know what they want, and they know what where they need to reach. They know everything, so they are fastly moving than the Gen X, millennials and all. So they are very clear, so I'm not finding any fault in them. So speaking with them gives more energy to us as an HR. We I used to talk a lot with the Gen Zs, because we will also get the vibe, and we will
Yeah,
also get the positive energy. So it's actually it's a good in my perspective.
yeah. On just a fun note, did you also find it difficult, or did you find it interesting to learn their slangs, their short terms? Isn't
They
that been how
they
much?
come up with
Yes,
a new
no.
trend. So for the trapping
Exactly.
now, they have some new trend. I think
I
this they have to
I
introduce something.
Yes, yes. So it definitely is interesting. But on a personal take, I sometimes have felt as a millennial, uh, I'm like, dude, you need to add in a lot of energy. You need to show a little more
Yes,
enthusiasm.
yes.
I think that's somewhere I come from personally, because one email typed, you need a half an hour break. I'm like, no, no, please, absolutely not. Type another 10 to take a break. It's just probably a difference in culture. I think even we have to learn to imbibe. It's
Yeah.
just
So
nothing but a
earlier it
difference in
was like
culture.
calling up sir,
Yeah,
ma'am
yeah,
and everything. And now what has become is, bro, let's go for a
yeah.
time. Like, bro, come, let's take a break. So it's taking time for millennials and as Gen Z to get adjusted. But I would say that let's see after 10 years, are these
Yeah,
two
yeah,
generations comes together and is there going to be a big impact in the market? Then that would be a
yeah,
great change.
So there
yeah.
comes the importance of adaptability and culture fit.
Yes.
So we
Absolutely.
also have to be adaptable with
Adaptable.
to work
Yes,
with them.
yes,
I
yes.
That's
think I
Absolutely.
think
I think
what
this is
we should.
exactly where it comes from. Yes, Manisha.
adding to the whole conversation, I found this super curious because I'm the Gen Z on the board here in the
There you
panel.
go.
So I was like, okay, very curious to know what the other generation think about my gen, right? So coming back to your question, just adding a bit, right, on the boredom part. Um, while we defend Gen Zs or right, but to a certain extent that boredom problem does exist. I think I myself have seen that in my career. I think in my previous company, my CHRO calls me and he's like, "Oh, sometimes I'm worried that you'll get bored at this role, and I don't have more work for you here." So and then we had to think of problem statements. Okay, what he had to think of a certain set of problem statement just to make sure that I'm engaged,
You're
I'm enjoying
engaged.
it, right?
Yes,
And that
yes.
is the problem statement everywhere. You can't,
Yeah.
if work starts getting more monotonous. I think there was a generation before, it's okay. Work is getting monotonous, they get used to it. But I think the patience level in Gen Z, it is reducing, right? So
Yeah.
we want bigger problems to solve. And I think not everyone, I would not generalize the whole generation, but a major part of it, right? We
Absolutely.
want
Yeah.
real problems to solve. We are
Yeah.
questioners. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to
Exactly.
come up with better
Yes.
whenever you're giving a work say workload also you have to explain it better, right? What is the thought behind it, what is the idea behind it, right? So there is problem for sure for the other generations
Yeah.
dealing
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
Gen Zs, but yeah, problems are also for a better
Absolutely. Yeah.
is what I feel. Yeah,
To add on to it, I think this generation also has the ability to speak up. They
yeah,
speak their
definitely, yeah.
mind out. And I don't think the earlier generations really did that. I think we had that fear to overcome.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
They're
even
very
today,
vocal.
to an extent, we can definitely see unless you bring up yourself to that comfort level, you don't have the energy to vocalize, right? While this generation do not need that, right? From day one, they're just the same as they are. And that's a great inspiration indeed. Right. I think we are running out of time. Patil, this was indeed a great topic. Patil, do you think if it's okay to run by about like say 5 minutes, does that allow?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
cool.
Sure.
All right. Let's go ahead with the rapid fire round. So this is, as said, rapid fire. I just want your answers in a word or one liner. I'll throw questions and all of you or any of you, whatever your thoughts are, please shoot your answers with.
Sure.
Your first question relies on one capability every organization should prioritize in 2026. What is that one capability?
Adaptability.
Adaptability. I agree with
Perfect.
Sri. Yeah.
Adaptability.
Everyone
Excellent.
agrees to this, I think.
Excellent. What's that one hiring practice that organizations should stop immediately?
Hiring only for
Qualification based hiring. Qualification based.
I think, yeah, hiring reactively, sorry, hiring with role clarity than the reactive hiring.
Like, don't work under pressure that you want to close this position. So take a time and
Mm,
analyze the long-term fit of that.
exactly. Right, right. One workplace skill that AI cannot replace.
the human judgment,
Relationship building.
Yes, yes,
emotional
absolutely.
intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, exactly. Yes, right. Moving on with the next question. One reason that a good talent leaves the organization today. What's that one reason?
Poor management.
Not
Uh,
appreciated, not
Clarity.
recognized.
Misalignment between the expectation and the culture.
Yeah, the clarity is not there.
Right, right. Yes. What's that one thing that HR leaders need to rethink now?
I think more
Okay.
than being a process driven, it should be a people, more into the people experience thing. That's what I feel.
Yeah, and
Okay.
one more thing when it comes to hiring is velocity can't be a hiring metric on this is the
Yeah,
number of hiring we did, or this is how fast we closed
Yeah.
the deal. It is
Right.
correct.
more about the hiring quality or it can't be a success metric basically, the
Right.
velocity.
Right.
My
Absolutely.
perspective, it is capability building as a continuous responsibility because the business must go on, right?
Hmm,
at
hmm.
the end.
But yes, I think you all are in the same consensus, because I think
Right.
end of it, your responses kind of connect to each other
Each other,
towards the
right.
end. Yes, right. So, experience or adaptability, what matters more going forward?
Correct.
Adaptability means.
Yeah, I
In
agree
my
with that.
perspective, experience remains valuable,
Mm-hmm.
but adaptability and learning mindset determine how effectively employees continue to grow in the changing environment.
And
Right,
also, it changes the mindset of being a longer term rather than being a shorter term goal.
And
right,
employees who are open to learning than others evolving in the workplace, that is very important.
right. What's that one word for future of hiring?
Capability.
Sustainability.
I would take it as a human centric, human approach.
Super specialized.
Yeah, I think it would be capability based hiring.
Capability based hiring. Uh, just one last question from my personal end, based on the discussions that we all have so far. So today we know that AI, to an extent, has been shaping the new talents in the market, right? So how open is an organization to offer some new learnings, some new techniques to the newbies, or even for the existent employees? So, how important it is for an organization also to open itself to provide these learning skills to your employees. And when you provide, it should not be that you just provide for a set of period and it is done. How is it that you also would want to monitor as to how best this has been imbibed by that individual and taken forward? What is that one thing? Or do you think it's equally necessary that an organization has to offer such learnings in a better way to its employees?
So I think I would like to take that question. So the question is not about if the company should have such practices, or the if the question is just not relevant in the current days. The companies don't have any other option. They have to invest in that kind of learning, right? That
Hmm.
kind of development. If you expect your employees to kind of automate processes, you make the best use of AI, because again, companies are not, sorry, the world is not delusional around AI. I was having a conversation with my CTO. There
Mm-hmm.
was a conversation where we said ki, oh, AI will take over your job. So I asked him, okay, that won't happen tomorrow, right? And he was like, that would exactly happen tomorrow. It's not waiting, right? So you see how cloud is evolving, right? So at
Mm.
this time, it's not an option for organization. Should we have a learning policy around it? Should we invest in this kind of learning? That's again no brainer for companies. They have to invest in that kind of thing. Coming to the monitoring part, I mean, we internally did start a training program after we gave cloud access to everyone. We kind of went around asking every team to give us a demo on how they are planning to use AI in their jobs, right? And this was a mandate or organization mandate. You do this, or else you will be evaluated, on your performance grounds, because it has to be. Okay, we tried to adapt it, by giving it as an option, but now it's no longer an option. It has to be force fed into the teams. You know, it's that important right now in the market. So yeah, it's not an optional for organizations anymore. If they want to invest or not, I think they have to go ahead and invest.
Right.
Right.
There is no choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. Absolutely. So ideally, even an organization plays a key role to ensure that they shape their hiring talent,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's equally important. Perfect. We did cross few minutes, but it was worth the time that we all have spent. Thank you very much. So I'd like to sum it up in a manner where it says today's discussion has highlighted that the issue may not be declining talent alone, but evolving on expectations. So the real challenge is not just hiring faster, but hiring smarter, onboarding better, aligning the roles clearly, which is more evolved with adaptability, capability, ownership, and execution that you all have brought up with, right? And as we wrap up, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all the four panelists, Ganesh Pillai, Srividya Rajiv, Kulsapi Mullah, and Manisha Jha. Thank you so much for sharing such an insightful perspective and some of most practical experiences in this industry that you work for today. So your thoughts on the capability building, your cultural alignment thoughts, the bridging hiring with the business expectations has given a lot to reflect upon. So I would also thank the organizers for putting together this impactful and a very well curated session for creating such a platform for this meaningful dialogue. Of course, a big thank you for all the participants who are watching us today here, as well as the ones who are on live stream for the engagement and thoughtful listening. We hope this discussion has sparked some new ideas and actions in your growth. Right. Thank you once again. Thanks a lot. This is Akshat Puappa again signing off your event today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Akshay.
you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank
everyone.
you, Ms. Akshat, for
Have a good
moderating the
evening,
session. Yeah,
everybody.
thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Everybody in the
Bye.
panelists. Good day.
Okay.